What in the world was that? That was the go home segment for WrestleMania. Punk and Cody patting each other on the back, hugging, crying, being super nice to each other and complimenting each other. That's what's supposed to sell me into watching this show and paying ESPN $30 to watch the show? No way. That is crazy. I don't know what in the world that was. WWE used to know how to sell a show. They used to know how to raise the stakes for a main event match and make you actually care about the outcome of the match. Nowadays it's like, it's so rare when you have a match where you can't predict the outcome and the stakes are really high. I'll give you an example of a match from years ago that did that correctly. CM Punk, John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011. That is a perfect example of how you sell a pay-per-view. They built it up so well, the stakes were so high, and nobody actually knew whether Punk or Cena was going to win, and that made us tune in to see. I actually bought that pay-per-view at that time, at a time when I wasn't really buying pay-per-views from the WWE. But that's an example of how to sell a show. During the Attitude Era, they really knew how to sell a show. Pretty much every one of their pay-per-views was must-see because the main event, even if the match quality wasn't going to be good, the stakes were high, the characters were people you cared about. You wanted to know who was going to win. The outcome mattered. Now it's just whatever because they think everything just sells itself. The WWE name sells itself. So they're kind of resting on their laurels because they used to produce good programming a couple of years ago. Now it's just more of the same over and over again. Nothing is really interesting. And even that segment with Roman Reigns and CM Punk on Monday, that was another example of this. Like, these two are in a main event match, the main event match, night 2 main event. And all they're doing is talking about how jealous they are of each other or how much they respect each other. And that's supposed to make me tune in to watch them wrestle. I mean, I kind of want to see the match because I'm sure it's going to be as good of a performance as either of those guys can give at this stage of their careers. I'm sure they're going to put on, hopefully, the performance of a lifetime. Now, some people might say that whatever happened in those two segments is sort of to reaffirm that Roman, Punk, and Cody are baby faces and somebody's turning heel this weekend. I highly doubt it would be Cody because honestly, I don't know how good of a heel Cody can be as a main event player because we really haven't seen that in the WWE, Cody as a main event heel. Now, as far as Punk and Roman go, I would say, I can't imagine Roman pinning Punk clean and then Punk raising his hand, like congratulating him and like a passing of the torch type of thing. I can't imagine that happening. That's so lame. And, this is a babyface versus babyface match. And we know that Punk and Cody are going to have a match at some point. And it would work best if one of them is a heel. And obviously people know that CM Punk is one of the greatest heels of his generation. So if I were to take a guess, Punk is probably turning heel at WrestleMania, either by interference, maybe Paul Heyman helps him out, or he realizes during the match that he can't beat Roman straight up, so he's going to have to cheat to win, and he does cheat and he does win, and that could turn him heel, and then next year at WrestleMania we get Punk versus Cody, heel Punk versus babyface Cody. I could see something like that. But again, did any of these segments with Punk and Roman, Punk and Cody, did this make me want to see the show? No. Anything involving Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll, did that make me want to see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes? No. Did Orton's promo make me want to see the match? No. I mean, it's like, the whole thing is And you know what? Orton versus Cody should have sold itself. You didn't need to involve celebrities, obviously. But whatever they've done, ever since it became confirmed that it was going to be Orton versus Cody, the whole thing, other than Randy Orton turning heel, everything since then has just been making me not want to see this match. I mean, I hope Orton wins, because that at least would be interesting. A heel Orton as champion, that would be cool. But am I eagerly anticipating the match? No. I mean, I think the match will hopefully be good. And that's the one saving grace of this WrestleMania. Even though the buildup has been terrible, there might be quite a few very good matches on this show. It kind of reminds me of WrestleMania 31, where I wasn't anticipating watching that show. Wasn't interested at all, really. And then the show itself was amazing, because they actually put on a very entertaining show, quite a few great matches. And I kind of expect that may happen again this year. But still, with ticket prices being as high as they are, and the fact that here in America you have to pay ESPN $30 a month to watch the PLEs, there's no way I'm going to pay that much money to see this show. There's no way I'm going to do that. Like, I watched the Royal Rumble for free through a free trial through some subscription, and that's how I got to see the Royal Rumble this year, because Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view, or PLE. But I mean, I could do that again with another subscription service, getting a free trial to watch WrestleMania, but I'm not going to watch it, because really, what are the matches I want to see? Okay, I want to see Roman and Punk, because I think it'll be a good match and it'll probably have an interesting finish. The second most important match that I kind of want to see, I guess, is Rhodes and Orton, but I don't even really want to see it at this stage of their careers. I'm sure they can still put on an incredible match, but I don't know. It's like, I'm not interested. You know why? Because of Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll. Again, it's because WWE doesn't know how to sell this show. They know how to discourage me from watching the show. They're really good at that. They're good at making me not care. So, okay, what are some of the other matches? Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Rhea Ripley's going to win. Jade Cargill is too limited in the ring. They cannot have Jade Cargill beating Rhea Ripley on this stage. They can't have that. Not at this stage of Jade Cargill's career, where she's still too green. No. Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. Yeah, that might be a fun match to watch. I expect Liv Morgan to win, probably with help from Dominic Mysterio. Intercontinental title match, ladder match. It would be kind of cool if Rey Mysterio won that, just to have one big win at WrestleMania, and then Rey could be a champion while he's, how old is he now? In his 50s? That would be cool. But again, the rest of the matches, not particularly interested. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. I mean, good for them for being on the show, but am I highly anticipating that match? Especially with the involvement of Lil Yachty and a gingerbread man. No, I'm not. I'm just not. And I know there are plenty of other matches, but I don't even remember them. Bottom line is, WWE knew how to sell a show at one point. And, it was at a time when Triple H was here, during the Attitude Era. So I don't know what's going on these days. I just have a feeling this has just become too corporatized of a company at this point, when this whole TKO merger happened. And at this point, it's just, oh well, it's hopefully we get good matches. That's pretty much all we can hope for these days, is good matches, because we're not really going to get compelling storylines. The last time that happened was the Bloodline angle, when Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa and the Usos and Roman Reigns were all on the same team with Paul Heyman. That was interesting television, and that helped sell the PLEs and made people want to watch the shows in the PLEs. And, Cody Rhodes' return at the same time helped as well. But that was a couple years ago. Cody came back at WrestleMania 38? So now here we are 4 years later, still living off the fumes of that time period. It just doesn't work. It's not, you got to refresh everything. You have to make things compelling. You can't just keep dragging out the same stuff over and over and using the same people in the main events forever, even when they're stale. and people are booing Cody. It's like, oh boy, it's like they've messed up. And I don't know when they're going to get back on the right track.